Simple.
The record would indicate emergency additions and deletions. Mr. Whelan.
I'd like to add 2 items to the agenda, and this is included in your board packets. First of all, the approval of a consulting agreement for a mentor for myself, superintendent, as well as the collective bargaining agreement that we had a hearing about on Monday night. So those 2 additions to the approval list.
And the reason we had to have that meeting Monday night is because today is a holiday and it didn't count in the legal notice. So appreciate everybody helping out with that. Any other additions to the agenda? Have a motion to approve the agenda. Mr. Brubaker.
I'll second.
Mr. Booker, second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Hearing of patrons on agenda items only. We have no presentations tonight. We have no recognitions. That brings us to the financial report.
I'd like to call your attention to the operations and education fund cash flow sheets that should be in your board packets. So our education fund cash flow through the month of October, we now have a balance of $1.8 million in our education fund. Again, we're doing our monthly transfer of $69,000 from two operations, which is a decrease from last year's operations transfer. And I'll talk a little bit more about that because you will see on the operations fund our negative balance of $207,000. I attribute that to both an increase in our utility costs this year, and then we also decreased the transfer from 15% last year to we're at an 8.5% transfer this year. I know that next month I'm going to have to ask you to increase that transfer rate for this year, just for that last month, to be able to catch up with the utility costs that we've had. And I am hoping to get to maybe 13% next year instead of 15%, but we'll probably have to be at the 13% transfer. We do need to, that's what funds our capital projects. That's what funds our utility costs, or utility payments. So I'm hoping to be at 13% of a transfer, but once I finish working the numbers and see where we are with this month, we'll be able to give you a better figure for that. And we did transfer, those did go up this last month because we transferred, closed out the Hoosier Fund investment, put those funds back into the funds. So those did go up significantly. And I did request from the Wabash Treasurer an advance on our property tax collection that we should be getting in December. We are entitled to receive 95% of what they've collected. I emailed them and asked them for that, but nobody in Wabash County has ever asked for that. Apparently, they were shocked and didn't know how to do it. So we're not going to get it at this distribution, but I will be working on getting that going next year.
I know that you and Kyle have been working on the ESSER, closing those out. Do we have an idea how much of it have we actually received? I know we applied for it. Have we received any of it yet?
We've received. I know off the top of my head, 700,000 right now that we've received back. Rough number. We're working on. This month yet in early December. I will have better figures on exactly where we are. We do hope. We had a 3-hour meeting this month already about what all we had spent, what all we still have budgeted to do, and we're looking at where we are with that. So we have a to-do list of each person, and we need to follow up on our next meeting to be able to get to have better figures for everybody on what all those expenses were, give you a detail of everything.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve the financial report.
So moved.
Mr. Raymer. Mr. Brubaker seconded. Any further discussion or questions? Okay,
So just, this will probably next year, but does the operations budget currently show, did we do the transfer of the ESSER funds? Does that show that yet from the money that we bonded, or that's something you gotta work out?
I don't believe that it shows that transfer, and so I'm finalizing I'm researching every month of what happened prior to my
Okay.
arrival, so I don't believe that shows in there, and so that will help that as well.
anybody else? Okay, all in favor, accepting the financial report, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No opposition? 7-0. Consent items. The minutes were in your packet. The claims were in your packet. We have grants from McDonald's. It was the MAC grant for $500 to Mr. Hooks. We received another grant for Schwab Foundation, which is programming and prosthetics with Neuromaker Hand. Can you elaborate on that one, Kyle?
Yeah, so this is going to be kind of a cross-curricular program. It deals with anatomy, physiology, as well as some coding and programming, and so it is basically a robotic hand that the students build and program. It's going to be at multiple grade levels, but this was about, I believe it was a $7,000 grant. So yeah, I certainly appreciate Mrs. Janaghy filling that out, and also Mr. Hooks for the one on that. So I hope that once we have everything in place, that can be one of our presentations, is having some students come and show what that project looks like. So.
Thank you. We have donations of $3,417.60 from various donors to the Manchester Senior High School Cross Country Program. We have a request for facility rentals. Becky Landis for the Old German Baptist Youth Group at MIS on Sunday, December the 5th. And Gary Long wants to use the high school gym and cafeteria on February 27th for the Old German Baptist Brethren New Conference Youth Group. That's all the consent items. Could I get a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bucher and Mr. Raymer, any further discussion or questions?
I just want to thank everybody again for the donations. That's something that this community does an amazing job with supporting our programming, and we couldn't do without them. So thank you to everybody who donated to the cross country program.
Anybody else?
Yeah. Does that Gary Long in February? That's typically around the same time as the Manchester youth basketball. Does that interfere with that?
As far as I know, we worked out all the conflicts, and
Okay.
that was the same with that first request. December 5th, there was an overlap, and so they moved that out to MIS. So.
Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Recommendations for approval for personnel. We had certified and classified staff, Ryan Oosley, Madison Poe, and Olivia Helton. Long-term sub, special ed, and paraprofessional. We have ECA staff with Carol Collett, intramural basketball coach, Jen Birch, intramural basketball coach, Tricia Dolby, intramural basketball coach, Aaron Lincolnholder,
Lincoln Hooker.
thank you. The junior high cheer coach, Madeline Mowry, winter guard coach, Hannah Anderson, band volunteer, Lydia Kelly, band volunteer, Jason Meredith, volunteer science Olympiad coach, and Leslie Altimus is the junior high musical director. I'd like to do all the recommendations for approval as one motion. Get a motion to approve those. Mr. Brubaker?
I'll second.
Mr. Hensley, second. Any discussion, questions?
I'd just like to thank all of these individuals for wanting to work here and help our kids. I especially want to acknowledge the volunteers. With the price of gas anymore, they're basically paying to be able to help out with our kids. So I appreciate all of them and what they're going to do to help provide opportunities for our students.
Anybody else? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Resignations, we have certified and classified staff. Morgan Calloway is the MIS paraprofessional. Naomi Gomez is the MES EL paraprofessional. Regan Bellinger is the MES kindergarten paraprofessional. And entertain a motion to accept those resignations.
So moved.
Mr. Brubaker,
Second.
Mr. Raymer. Any comment, questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Okay, ECA staff. I'm sorry, I missed one there. We had Jennifer Howard has resigned as the assistant softball coach. Motion to accept that. Mr. Raymer and Mr. Brubaker. Any comment? I'd like to thank her for her years here at Manchester. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Kyle, I'm gonna let you do this one.
So the retirement of Ivan Jean Knight, she's been our bus driver and our transportation director for a really long time. And so I was aware that this was going to take place this year. It was actually the first conversation I had her when I took over, which was not one I was enjoying. So she's served this community and this school corporation for a long time. She has a lot of good plans for retirement, but part of the things that she wanted to do is make sure that we had enough time to find a suitable replacement for her. And so she decided she would go ahead and submit her retirement plan now. She'll serve out the rest of this school year, but hopefully that'll give us time to to fill that position, and also, if possible, have her play a role in training whoever's doing that. So I do appreciate her taking this and giving us those opportunities and all of her years of service. She did have another obligation tonight, but she promised me she will be back for a board member meeting where we can truly show our appreciation for everything she's done for this corporation and our students. So.
I'd entertain a motion to accept her retirement plan. Mr. Brubaker,
Regrettably, a second.
Mr. Bucher. Any comments?
I'd like to thank her. She was my bus driver at the vocational school, and she's been around for a long time. I hate to see her go, but I understand it and I respect it. So thank you, Imogene.
Well, I'm looking around the room, and I think there's 4 board members that either rode her buses or drove buses she was in charge of. So that's pretty remarkable. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with regret. I need a motion to approve Heather Turflinger as the MIS intramural basketball coach.
So moved.
Mr. Raymer, Mr. Brubaker, Comments, questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, I'm gonna do these next three together because they're all kind of related. Manchester Youth Cheerleading Program wants to use the facilities from January 2nd to February 20th. Boys Biddy Ball Program wants to use it every Sunday from January to February 20th from 12:30 to 3:30. Girls Biddy Ball Program every Sunday, December 5th to 21st. I'd entertain a motion to approve those three. Mr. Mr. Hensley, second. Mr. Brubaker. Any discussion? I did have a conversation with Kyle. These are all subject to the COVID mandate and any conflicts. So, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0, no opposition. Approval of transfer of Karen Jimenez as a paraprofessional from Manchester Junior Senior High School to MES to be the paraprofessional of the DLI classroom?
Yes.
You want to talk about that?
Well, we had, our paraprofessional at the DLI classroom had resigned, and so we needed that position filled. And Ms. Jimenez is pursuing a degree in Spanish education, so it's a natural fit. She'll be a great help there. So basically, she was already employed by us, and when we look at the best suit for her, I believe this is the right one. So.
Okay, superintendent's recommending this transfer. I get a motion to approve it. Mr. Raymer? Mr. Brubaker? Any discussion, comments? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Okay. You want to do this one, or you want me to do it? Okay, we have the approval of the RFP for the CMC. Was in your packet. It's recommendations for proposals to be our contractor at risk on the building project. Just need the board to approve it, and then we can advertise it tomorrow. We're on kind of a tight timeline here. I get a motion to approve 7.7.
So moved.
Mr. Raymer, second.
I'll second.
Mr. Hensley. Any discussion or questions?
Those changes made that we've discussed, Matt?
Yes, and so, yeah, this one does have the changes updated. He sent that to me today, and we'll make sure that that's the one that's posted.
And Mr. France, you reviewed this?
Yeah.
So, any further questions, discussion? All in favor? Let's do a roll call since this is a contract. Mr. Raymer?
Yes.
Mr. Bucher?
Yes.
Mr. Brubaker?
Yes.
Mr. Espacet?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Hensley?
Yeah.
And I vote yes. Motion carries 7-0. You want to do this one, or you want me to do it?
Oh, sure, I'll take this one. So, when I was approved to be this new superintendent here, you know, obviously my lack of experience in this position was a concern, but also something that the board had shown support in providing me with additional expertise. And so it was talked about contracting a mentor, former superintendent who could, you know, be on call, basically meet with me and talk me through some of the more challenging pieces. And so the person that I've selected is Phil Downs. He's a retired superintendent. He was with Southwest Allen County for quite a while, and so very well respected around the state. And he has agreed to fill this role basically through the end of June, which I think will get me through some of the most troubling times. And you know, I've had great support from the regional superintendents, but you know, to have somebody there, you know, kind of on call, and also one that can, you know, be, you know, have some of those regular meetings with me and kind of prepare me for what's coming up, I think that he'll be a great fit. So the contract is in your board packet as well.
I get a motion to approve a motion to approve the consulting agreement.
I'll mention.
Mr. Hensley, Mr. Brubaker, any questions, comments? Carries. Contract, so do a roll call. I'll start with myself. I vote yes. Mr. Hensley?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Mr. Brubaker?
Yes.
Mr. Booker?
Yes.
Mr. Raymer?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. I'll let you do the current collective bargaining agreement too, Kyle.
Okay, so on Monday night, we did have the hearing for the collective bargaining agreement. This is basically what is referred to as the teacher contract. And so, you know, we worked through a lot of different details, and I feel like we've come up with a really good proposal that both groups were, you know, willing to agree upon. Each of our teachers were basically one of the moves toward the state level, and in the additional funding is they want all districts to be able to get to $40,000 as that starting base salary for all new teachers starting with next year. So we have basically a year to work towards that, and then next year we're expected to be there. And so we were able to raise basically the salary scale $2,800 across the board, which would bring our starting salary up to $39,600. So we're about $400 short of where we want to be. But you know, as far as our financial outlook, we feel like this is a great you know, starting point. And so I was really excited. This was my first true opportunity to work with the Teachers Association, and I felt like it went really well. And I also appreciate their support because they understood that we were also looking to you know, improve our salary scale for hourly employees too. So I just want to thank a couple of them here tonight, and just want to thank them for doing that. So I propose, well, I'll turn it back over to you. So it's
Okay, we had our hearing. I'd entertain a motion to approve the collective bargaining agreement.
so moved.
Mr. Esposito?
I'll second.
Mr. Booker? Any further comments or questions? I'd just like to put one comment out there. I appreciate everybody's extra effort. I know we started almost a month late this year, and to get this done was quite remarkable, really. So appreciate that. Roll call vote. Mr. Raymer?
Yes.
Mr. Booker?
Yes.
Mr. Brubaker?
Yes.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Hensley?
Yeah.
And I vote yes. Brings us to the Heartland update. I don't have much other than some unexpected issues may delay construction of the new building. I'll have a better update next month. Mr. Hensley?
So legislatively, and probably everybody knows, you know, the infrastructure bill passed the House. So be interesting to see the flow of money to education, you know, and what happens there. Other notes, COVID still hangs around with some things, so I think we've had discussions on things related to that with employees, and I think it'd be smart to, you know, report and work some of this out. So other than that, that's it.
Thank you. Public comments?
I'm Adam Marlett, co-president of MT. I just want to thank you guys for approving our contract tonight. We were definitely put on a tight time schedule, but it's really a testament to Kyle and Tanya of coming in very prepared, and I felt like we came in prepared, and just every
Anybody else? Superintendent comments.
I apologize, I have quite a bit to talk about. So, first of all, I know I'm on the clock. So first of all, I do want to share my appreciation for the board in helping to approve having a mentor on for me. Making that adjustment from principal to superintendent, it's a whole different ballgame. And so having somebody with the experience level as Mr. Downs will be very helpful. I'd also like to thank the board members who served on the negotiation team as well. That was Mr. Espacet and Mr. Bucher. Once again, we got off to a very late start compared to everybody else. Most of them had pre-negotiations prior to September 15th and had it all figured out, and we couldn't even really have a true discussion until middle of October. And so I appreciate the board members, but also the negotiation team from the association, because it was a tight window, but everybody was on the same page, so that was nice. We have one of the things I wasn't able to get hammered out yet for this meeting, but is at the top of my priority list is getting our new salary schedule in place for hourly employees as well as our substitutes. Unfortunately, it's taking a little bit longer because I was hoping to be able to provide that tonight, but we do have another meeting on November 23rd, and so if everything goes as planned, we'll be able to talk about the adjustments in their hourly rates as well. Huge applause for the cast of Little Women, and we had that was a production that just got put on last week, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We had over 30 students and an additional over 30 adults who helped put on that production. It was absolutely amazing. So compliments to Mrs. Reichenbach and everybody who played a role. I mean, that's pretty impressive that many people were involved in it. And for those of you who attended, the quality of product that they put out. Fall Sports Awards program is tonight at 7 o'clock. That was, once again, I appreciate everybody's willingness to adjust this meeting to make sure we're able to make it. And winter sports are underway. We had 286 students participate, grades 7 through 12 in fall sports. We had 27 recognized as all conference. All of the teams' cumulative GPA, their average was over 3.0. And so that's a huge compliment to our coaches and our student athletes, because they are putting that student piece first and taking care of academics. Also want to say, update on faculty computers. We've distributed about 25% of them so far, and so we're trying to roll those out as quickly as possible. Also want to thank Tanya and Darla and Fatima. They've been working really hard to get a better grasp of our finances, so that they can share those with the board as well as the community, so everybody's informed. So I appreciate all the extra work that they did, and I want to make sure that everybody's aware that next week on Tuesday and Wednesday at 7 p.m. we are going to be having informational meetings about our proposed building project. So I encourage anybody from the community or employees of Manchester Community Schools, if you want to hear more about it or if you have questions about it, we will be in the MAO auditorium starting at 7 o'clock both Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So please come and join us so you can find out more about what our plan is. And last but certainly not least, it is Veterans Day, so I want to thank all the veterans in this community and around the country. It's certainly something that we should all appreciate everything they've done to support basically our country and our freedoms. So that's it.
Like Superintendent Whelan says, we have that meeting on the 16th and 17th. Board, you can look for a copy of the video that they're going to present before that meeting. We're going to meet with Manchester Alive and some of the town council members on the 16th.
The 16th, yeah, Tuesday.
And we have a 1028 hearing on November 22nd that's already been posted. And we have a 23rd, and December 14th is the other 1028 hearing. So we'll need a quorum here for those hearings for the strategic plan.
Can someone send out an email with those dates?
Huh?
Can someone send out an email with those
Yep.
dates, please?
Yep. Absolutely. That's all I have. Anybody else?
Yeah, I sort of did to do Kyle's comments, looking at the Neuromaker and thinking about some of our veterans and the true price of freedom. I hope everybody remembers that, especially in times of points of contention and what we give up and what we, how people feel and the decisions they make. So just to ditto that sentiment, thank you, veterans.
Anybody else?
As a board rep on the negotiation team, just kudos to both the MTA and Kyle and Tanya on the preparation and the cordiality throughout that process. It's impressive.
Okay. With that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Hensley? Mr. Brubaker? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Cordiality.